I needed a new space, so I made one. Welcome to my new studio. So, why do I need my own studio, my own space? I'm not sure where this quote came from, but someone has once said a creative space is a sanctuary where your imagination can roam freely, unburdened by the outside world. It is a place where you can truly be yourself and let your ideas flourish. For me, I think it was more so needing a place of isolation for creativity. Being in a house, in a bedroom, people coming and going, a lot of different noises in the house. You know how that is. It's just hard to have a sanctuary place where you're not really by yourself. And so I needed a place where I'm not interrupted by others and not being rude or anything. And usually I always have an open door policy of people just walking in and being able to chat with me and that sort of thing. But when it comes to creativity and just having time to be alone, especially during the day, I just find that I just needed a better place to be isolated and to just let my creative mind go. I needed a place where I wouldn't bother others. So, just as much as others might bother me, I need to make sure I wasn't bothering others, especially when I'm mixing or playing or singing and trying to be loud and all that kind of stuff. You know, when there's other people living in the house, you're living in a shared space, and sometimes it can just be a little bit awkward. Um, and so, especially if I'm trying to do something at night, I don't usually do a lot of stuff at night, but when I need to do something at night, it's best that I have a separate place where I can go off and be as loud as I want and I won't disturb anyone sleeping. I also needed a quiet place to record. So, you know, being in a house, you got all kinds of different noises. You got the AC unit going, you got fans, you got someone's TV going on in another room, phone is ringing, or things like that. And so it's just hard to be totally isolated from other outside sources of sounds. Though in this studio, I'm going to have to find a better way to isolate the traffic noise that's outside my shed. And then I just needed a place to try out new things without feeling weird about it. And so if I'm just strumming on my guitar or doing something on the keyboard or trying to do something with my voice, you know, on recordings, I just needed a place where I can try new things without feeling funny about it. Okay. Not only for isolation and creativity, but I also needed a place for clients. And one of the things that I would like to do with the studio is open it up to others. Here for now, you know, it seems like forever, I've been using the studio for my own personal stuff. Well, sometimes. I mean, sometimes I'm using it for church, to create tracks and arrangements and that sort of thing for church worship and that sort of thing. But I also needed a place where if I wanted to bring in a vocal artist or a musician and they wanted to write or record music and that sort of thing, or for mixing or mastering tracks, it's just awkward, you know, to bring someone into your home, especially in a bedroom, studio, office sort of thing that's not really built for it. And I just needed a place for the clients to be able to feel comfortable, just like me, to be able to explore creativity. And for the clients, it's for teaching lessons, to bring in people to teach piano, keyboards, for worship, guitar, voice lessons, songwriting, different types of lessons. And some of the stuff that I want to do with lessons is involves in helping them use their gift for worship services. And so whether they are a worship leader or play in the worship team band or sing in the worship team, that, you know, they can come to me and get some ideas and take some lessons about those sort of things. So that's kind of the reason for having this, is for isolation, creativity, and for clients to come in. So how did I make this happen? Well, I already had a shed, a he shed. My wife has a she shed. Hers is much bigger than mine, probably twice as big. Mine is about a 16 by 10 shed. Ever since I had it, it had always been used as a wood shed, a tool shed, where I used to do a lot of wood crafts for my wife for her business. And for the last couple of years or so, I've kind of gotten away from that. And this shed has remained basically, not being used. I rarely ever came up here to do any more woodwork. And so it's just sitting here, and I didn't want it to rot or deteriorate or anything like that. It's a really good shed, and so I thought, it's probably time for me to get out of the house and get my own space. And so I relocated to the woodshed, and so then the second thing I needed to do was to get financial permission from my wife. It wasn't going to be like a big expense, but it was going to be an expense. I think so far throughout the whole thing, I think I spent maybe not close to 3,000, but maybe $2,500 on this project, and a big portion of that was the HVAC system. Everything else was wood and paint and all that kind of stuff. So I got financial permission from my wife. We agreed that this is something that I could do, and so and the way that I'm going to help fund this is not only because hopefully I'll teach lessons and get clients and do some other things, but I also have a lot of cycling gear. I was an active cyclist, and a lot of touring, bicycle touring gear, tools, and all. I have a mountain bike. I'm going to be getting out of mountain biking and touring and that sort of thing, and my body just can't take that punishment anymore. And so I've convinced myself that it's probably time for me to retire from that sort of lifestyle. And so I'm going to sell all my bicycle gear, and hopefully, now if you need a bike or something, let me know, and hopefully I still have a bike. I have bicycle tours and panniers and all the kind of camping equipment for that sort of activity. I also needed permission from my father-in-law to store my tools in his secondary storage container. He has a second container that he wasn't really using anymore, and so he allowed me to store my stuff in there, and so for me to move that stuff out. And then I put together a plan and started renovating the shed. I did get a little help from my friends on a couple things for electricity and knowing how to frame a door. And so I had a friend come out and help me with that. For the most part, though, I did everything myself, and picking the paint and doing all the labor and everything like that. So it was definitely a DIY project, and it was fun, sometimes frustrating, especially when I miscalculated the door frame and had to tear down the whole wall frame and start that all over again. So what did I have to do to make all this happen? So I had to gut out this whole shed. I had, table saws and scroll saws and chop saws and all kinds of other tools in here. I had already sold the CNC machine almost about a year ago, and so that was kind of the first part of that, getting that monster out of here. And then, but I needed to relocate all the tools to get everything out of here, so that I can start, getting things down to the wood and began to add the stuff that I needed to add. So I added more insulation and siding to the interior walls. I'm using OSB walls just because I already had the OSB walls up, so I continued on with that. And I needed to paint those walls after insulating and putting up more around the room. And as you can see in the background, it actually turned out pretty good. I needed to build a new door, or put in a new door, because all I had was those barn shed doors, and so that wasn't, weatherproofed and all that kind of stuff. So I built a totally new wall where those barn doors were. But I kept the barn door, so when you look on the outside of my shed, it still looks like a shed. And then when you open up one of the barn doors, the other door, I secure that and it's attached, and so it's not going anywhere. But the other door, when you open it up, then you have another new white door, exterior door that's there. And so that has made a big improvement, not only on the noise, but also to climatize the room because of all the equipment that I have here. And talking about climatizing, then I installed a mini split system. It's called a Mr. Cool Easy Pro. That it's a unit that you can do yourself as long as you have someone, or if you know how to do electricity. But I had a friend that from church that helped me with that, and so it's really not a difficult thing. I've installed my wife's the same way, and it worked really well. So I decided, I'll just use one for mine. It's not all that cheap. I mean, it was about $1,200, but you don't have to hire an HVAC person to install it and charge the lines and vacuum the lines and do all the electricity. That would have been a lot more. So. But it works beautifully. Right now, I'm sitting here. I'm actually kind of cold right now, sitting here. I need to readjust the temperature. As I said, I painted the walls and caulked everything and sealed everything. I'm still kind of tweaking about what to do with some of the traffic noise outside. I'll probably need to put some skirting around the bottom of the shed. And I'm still toying about what to do about the ceiling. I did put some sound panels up on the ceiling, but that's mostly to lessen down the reverb in the room, things bouncing around. But I may still insulate I have insulation on the ceiling, but it's soundboard, it's solar board, and but I'm not sure if it's helping to keep the sound from outside out, because I think there's some gaps there. And then I moved my studio equipment into the studio and began to hook everything up, and got a couple of new pieces of gear just to kind of up my game a bit, and that's been really helpful. So in this place, what is my goal for this space? My goal for this new space is to be more creative and to create more creative content like this, to be helpful to you. And listen, I just turned 60, and I'm just starting this. I mean, I've been involved in music for a long time, all my life, and led worship and all that. But I've never really. I've been trying to do YouTube videos and blogs and stuff like that. But again, the room that I was working out of just didn't allow me to do the creative stuff that I really wanted to do. And so I would start something and then I would start, stop, because I felt a little bit handicapped by what I was trying to accomplish. And so my goal is to create more creative content on YouTube, and hopefully start blogging again. And I don't know. I've always dreamed about doing a podcast, but I don't know. We'll see what goes on with that. And then produce more music material, whether if it's worship stuff to help other people in other churches, or to help my church or my team, or to create, write more songs, or produce my stuff, but also to help other people, to make my studio available for clients to come in, and especially those who are just starting. Maybe they've had a bucket list and they write songs, and I've always wanted to record their songs and get it on iTunes or YouTube or whatever, and but just never had the opportunity, or in major studios, it costs a lot to do that. And being a amateur commercial studio, my prices are not going to be as expensive as a truly commercial studio. And a lot of those studios are busy and they have a lot of clients. And so maybe, some of the amateurs, lay people out there that want to try something out, I want this to be an opportunity for them to use their creativity and to do something that they thought that they would have never done before. And like I said, to use it for lessons, for keyboard, guitar, voice lessons, songwriting, and all that kind of stuff. And basically just to get out of the house, because I found myself just kind of like, I'm just in the house a lot. And it's just kind of gets on you a little bit. And so it felt nice. It feels nice now to be able to get away from the house and feel like I'm actually going to an office and to do some work. And so I'm enjoying that for the last couple of days. And some other things that that is good about having this space is I'm actually next door to my wife, and so it's actually we're kind of like working side by side like we used to before, and so it's kind of nice being a little bit closer to her. So, I think in the conclusion to this video, I think it's just important for all of us to have a space. I think for guys, I think we call it the man cave, and however that may look like. And I know some wives and some women have their own place, whether it's a sewing room or quilting room or creative craft room and that sort of thing. But we all need a place to call our own for creativity, to pray, meditate, or for just personal development. And so there's nothing selfish really about it. As long as you have the space and the accommodations for it, I would say, hey, make it happen. There's a couple other little quotes that I think are really good. You can see your thoughts and your emotions arise and create space for them, even if they are uncomfortable. Or if we want great things to happen, then we must create space in our lives for what we desire. And so I hope you can find a place for yourself and create that place for your own, so that you can create content not only for yourself, but also for others, to bless not only yourself, but also to bless others, all and do it all for the glory of God. And so let me encourage you to do that. I just want to thank you for watching this video. And as I begin to make more, I hope you would subscribe to my channel, and let's see if I can get this thing growing. But meanwhile, be strong and courageous. Thank you for watching. And until next time, we'll see you later. God bless you.